Bombs went off at about 2:45 on Monday. There were 3 people killed in the bombings.
A lot of people they see something, they want to tell somebody about it. The problem is a lot of times they don't know what it is they're seeing.
It took only minutes for news to race around the world.
There were 2 explosions reported in Boston.
YouTube, Twitter, Facebook, Instagram. Social media went into overdrive. Rapid fire, real-time accounts of a crisis unfolding.
Journalism, part of the problem in breaking news stories is that everybody rushes to be first. Well, here it was a Twitter picture of someone saying, "Holy cow," and hashtag explosion. And that was at 2:50. Twitter had the actual pictures and eyewitness accounts, and TV and radio and the net had to really play catch up.
The initial tweets were, to tell people to get away from the area, to let first responders get through, to let people know we did have 2 explosions at the marathon. But in those first few minutes, we weren't exactly sure what those explosions were all about.
Sites like Reddit and 4chan devoted special pages to the amateur sleuths. Hundreds of before and after pictures and videos were posted, analyzed, and scrutinized.
Reddit users linking to information, photos, and video, while other users field their links' reliability, pushing the best content to the top for easy updates. And as the investigation continues, police and emergency management tweeting tips, even soliciting potential clues, asking eyewitnesses to use the hashtag #TweetFromTheBeat.
They're uncensored. They're real. Everyone's a reporter these days.
Something just blew up.
It is up there forever. And people will rebroadcast it, retweet it.
2 powerful explosions detonated in quick succession right next to the Boston Marathon finish line.
Hours before any official press conference or emergency services had arrived on scene, runners turned reporters.
People don't know the reach that they have with social media. It takes one person to string together a compelling story for it to really spread viral.
Is digital media the friend or challenge of law enforcement officials?
Both, and I'm not sure which way it breaks. It varies a little bit from case to case.
And they were everywhere. They flooded websites like Twitter, and Boston Police's Twitter page here, they've been posting new photos around the clock practically.
It doesn't matter how social media savvy you were, all of them were stunned. They were just caught by surprise by the absolute flood of, first of all, information that was being put out, not just by news organizations, but by ordinary people. One of their frustrations was that they couldn't verify the tweets that were coming into them.
A lot of journalists and other people saying, don't retweet things that you don't know to be true.
Sites like Reddit in particular, where everybody suddenly, anybody who had a bag and looked remotely out of place suddenly became enemy number 1.
On Reddit, they call themselves the Redditors. They were attempting to piece together bits and pieces of the bomb. These are amateurs that are trying to circle individuals that are in the audience and start trying to say, hey, this might be the bombers. That type of speculation so early in the game, in an ongoing police investigation, can become exceptionally dangerous. It could put individuals, innocent individuals, in the line of fire. There are young men that were put on the cover of newspapers because of social media that were saying, listen, I was scared to leave my home. And frankly, you don't blame these boys.
There is no justification in ruining a person's life, the sense of the identity that a person has, which can, in a certain case, in my case, bring about serious endangering situation. My life was endangered just because of the mistake of the media.
And people can't just listen to scanners and then throw that stuff out there, and then other news organizations who are a little nervous start running with it. And then we had CNN, a reputable news agency, saying, could be a dark-skinned man. What's that? Calm down. Take a step back, report what you know.
And candidly, the social media investigative capabilities have come an extremely long way in the last year, but it's relatively immature when compared to things like computer forensics.
This little phone is more powerful than a supercomputer that cost $5 million and filled a room 30 years ago. It changes what it means to be a journalist. It changes what it means to be a citizen.
to be a part of the news. Anybody can participate in making the news.
We like to say that journalism's first obligation is to the truth, and its very essence is a discipline of verification. But given the immediacy of social networks and the web, is it realistic to think that people will be willing to wait for the fact-checking before posting anyway? Or do we simply accept that reporting has evolved in such a way where information comes out first and corrections come out second?
In order to get the information out quickly, you can't go through the same fact-checking process that we once did. So that's where transparency comes in. You know, if you're transparent with your audience about where you're getting information, how you're getting it, I think they're much more forgiving than they once were.
What it, I think, has taught the public is to act as an editor at every turn. Social media is not really media, it's just people having a conversation, but it brings with it some of the responsibilities of media because it can spread so fast and so far and then become permanent as well.
Look, everybody should help, I guess, but just because you have a Twitter account doesn't make you a reporter.
It's being done messy and in real time and done by amateurs, so it's interesting to look at, but you have to keep those things in mind when you're looking at what conclusions they're coming from.
Although it appears intentions were good, the overall outcome was not. At least 4 innocent people were identified by name online as possible suspects.
Far and away, the most commonly used hashtag, either by someone who was tweeting or retweeted, was Pray for Boston. And I think that's just a reminder that one of the big reasons people go to social media is to express sympathy.
Tumblr and Instagram, you had a sense of community, sharing a photo, sharing a feeling, sharing a sympathy.
And almost immediately, we had people commenting and saying things like Ashley here. Ashley said, "What is going on in this world? This world can't take any more tragedies." You know, they use social media as a way to vent and help one another kind of cope with what's going on.